Hi, I'm Dr. Michaels and I'm your host on this lovely show called Let the Drums Roll Wellness Parlor. And we're so excited to have Dr. Nike here once again. Thank you very much for making our time to be here. So,
you're welcome.
I was going to ask, how do I get to understand my sexual urges, desires? How do I get to understand myself sexually?
Don't you need my help for your urges, your desires? How does this concern the second party? But okay, how does one understand the sexual urges and desires? I don't think there's any rocket science to it. Your desires are your desires. Now, whether you want to give expression to them or whether you feel you should give expression to them is a whole different ballgame. Your sexual desires might be you're attracted to everyone that passes, for instance. You're attracted to the same sex, or you're attracted to a child, which is even a crime, as in pedophilia is a crime. But they are your desires. So what you do with them, how you manage them, is what matters. Now, I'll talk about it as male and female roles. I'll keep it simple that way. In gender and sexuality now world over, you could be transsexual, you could be asexual, you could decide that you don't have any gender at all, or you're both genders, or you just transit back and forth, or you're just neutral. But to keep it simple, let's talk about male and female. And what you do with your desires, your urges, it's influenced by a lot of things. It's influenced by culture, the way you were brought up. It didn't mean that there were no homosexuals in the decades and the centuries that passed. But because it wasn't necessarily socially acceptable, it was done in the closet. But because it's now socially acceptable, not thought of as a psychiatric disorder anymore or a pathology, then people come out of their closets and express their sexuality. It could have to do with the environment. It could have to do with what you have decided is right and wrong. For instance, religion. I can't get away from religion whenever I'm talking about sex because it's a big part of many people's life. And in Nigeria, we know that religion is a big part of our lives. We're not talking elsewhere. So it always comes up. People struggle with balancing what they believe with what they feel. What we believe is explicitly stated, depending on how well or how close you want to believe it. But it's explicitly stated that sexual activity outside of a marriage relationship is wrong. The Bible calls it adultery, for instance. The Bible talks about fornication, the sexual relationship between people that are not married, and other things. Now, like I said, it's always individual how closely someone wants to believe what he says he believes, or wants to act out what he says he believes. And what many people have conflict is that what I want, what I like to do, is contrary to this. So what to do about it is what is up to them. Going back to religion will tell you that even though you have these needs that are physiological, it's for you to put your body under. It's for you to gain ascendancy and observe restraints. It's for you to decide that it doesn't matter that you feel like doing this, you are not doing. Just the same way as a glutton trains himself. I eat everything I see. But the time I decide to gain mastery, it doesn't matter how delicious that hot dog looks. We're not eating it because we have eaten today and we're not hungry. So it's the same way. It's that kind of mastery you want to gain if you want to gain it that way. But there are some other things that are now not socially acceptable. That whether or not you have religion, it's not socially acceptable to sleep with all your friends' wives, for instance. So we're all friends in a circle. And every one of your wives I find attractive, religion or not. I think all of us will agree that it is awkward and totally unacceptable for us to find out that you have slept with every wife. So it comes to the same restraints. But it depends on what you want to make out of it. And it depends on what you have decided are your goals, what you can do and what you cannot do, and whether you just want to be laissez-faire and just take it as it comes, irrespective of whoever oxes God. You'll soon be left without friends and maybe without a spouse soon, sure, if you go the whole way with that one. But I think that's what I have to say about that.
When you say about marriage, how do you get to understand your partner's sexual urges, desires, sexuality? How do you get to understand it?
The thing about marriage, so marriage is the school in which you never finish learning. You get your certificate at the beginning of the education, but you never finish learning until the end of the education, which for most people is end of life. It's the same about that sexuality. You learn from each other, you teach each other. Sometimes some people are harder of hearing, and you actually have to tell them, do this, do that, touch me here, don't touch me there. This puts me off, this turns me on. Some others don't need to be instructed. They just learn as you go. And she's happier when I do this.
But most
He
women
likes it better when I do this.
Okay, so
She doesn't like this when I do that. So just don't do it again.
Oh,
Right? Some
Yeah.
people learn easier that way without you talking. The ones that don't, by all means, please talk. By all means, please talk. I don't like to be touched that way.
She's the sweetest thing that I know. See the way she hurts me when the lights go low. She shakes my soul like a bubble every time. Took my heart upon a one-way trip. Yeah, she went wandering off with it. Unlike most women that I know, this one would bring it back home. Pressure upon your forehead, lately. Every night I kiss you, sing years over and love, hungry, hands in your hair, fingers and thumbs, baby. I feel safe when you hold it. Love the way that you conquer fear. You know hearts don't break now. Yeah, she's a river flowing. Tender strides, she's forever. Feels it trees in our space. Spend my summertime beside her. The rest of you the same. She's the flame that sparks the light. And if you ever hold the flame, roses burst upon your always. Every night I wish you were saying years over and over, aren't we? And in your fingers in fun, baby. I feel safe. Oh, we're in love.